Next on TCM, The Straight Story, then Blue Velvet, and later, Wild at Heart. We've got David Lynch in our blood tonight.
Hey there, I'm Ben Mankiewicz. Thanks for joining us on TCM. Keep your eye on the donut, not the hole. That piece of advice came from the family of the multi-talented filmmaker David Lynch. They shared it in January when they announced Lynch's death, reminding people not to focus on the loss, but instead what remained, Lynch's lifetime of innovative, visually evocative, and challenging work. Apparently, David Lynch used the line often, keep your eye on the donut, not the hole. It's a potentially impactful piece of advice that's also particularly Lynchian. Elements of Lynch's work focused on life's simple pleasures, nostalgia for the 50s and 60s, his childhood in the Pacific Northwest, or a damn fine cup of coffee and a slice of pie from the Bob's Big Boy in Burbank, where Lynch would go to write often. Lynch's love of Bob's Big Boy was so well known that in the hours after the announcement of his death, fans created a shrine outside the restaurant filled with objects tied to Lynch's work, which included not just feature films, but the landmark TV series Twin Peaks, dozens of short films, music videos, paintings, and sculptures. We're honoring David Lynch's creative spirit with a lineup featuring 5 of his films. We begin tonight with a drama released by Walt Disney Pictures from 1999, The Straight Story. You heard me right. The man behind such adult fare as Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, and Mulholland Drive made a film released by Disney. Technically, Lynch made the picture independently. When he finished it, he took it to the Cannes Film Festival, where it was nominated for the Palme d'Or. It drew the attention of Disney, which immediately purchased the distribution rights. The Straight Story is based on the true story of Alvin Straight. 1994, Alvin drove a 1966 John Deere riding lawnmower from his home in Iowa to his brother's home in Wisconsin, a 240-mile journey, a trip taken on the mower at 5 miles an hour. The story was covered by the national media, which led to Hollywood film producers knocking on his door. After one failed attempt to make the film with actor Paul Newman, the rights eventually landed with Mary Sweeney, a frequent David Lynch collaborator. Sweeney, who eventually became Lynch's third wife, co-wrote the script with John Roach. David Lynch believed The Straight Story was the most experimental of all his films, in part because he chose to shoot it on the route Alvin Straight took. Lynch also shot in chronological order, which makes sense if you're retracing Straight's path. As for the casting of Straight, Lynch had only one actor in mind, the great character actor Richard Farnsworth, who initially turned the role down due to health issues. He'd recently been diagnosed with late-stage cancer, but Lynch worked around Farnsworth's condition to make it work for the actor, and as you'll see, it was worth it. Farnsworth, in his last role, earned a Best Actor Academy Award nomination for his performance here. From director David Lynch in 1999, also with Sissy Spacek, Everett McGill, and the great Harry Dean Stanton, The Straight Story. Did the twin lawnmower repairmen in The Straight Story look familiar to you? You may have picked up on the family resemblance the real-life brothers had with their older, more famous sibling. John and Kevin Farley are the younger brothers of sensationally talented and much-loved Saturday Night Live comedian Chris Farley. In making The Straight Story, director David Lynch and screenwriters Mary Sweeney and John Roach were noticeably deliberate when it came to sharing information, not just about Alvin Straight's life and his motivations, but also about how much time the trip was taking. A 240-mile journey is like 3.5 hours by car with no traffic and maybe one stop for coffee and to pee. But it's not until well into the film that Alvin tells us he's been on the road for 5 weeks. It's never stated that Alvin's mower could only go 5 miles an hour. but its plotting pace was driven home by Lynch when Alvin gets passed by the bicycle race pack, the sequence enhanced by the sound design in that scene, work done by David Lynch himself. Sound design was a big part of Lynch's creative process, as you'll see throughout the night here on TCM, but especially in the film we have coming up, a 1986 neo-noir that earned Lynch an Oscar nomination for Best Director and teamed him with three of his most frequent collaborators, Kyle MacLachlan, Laura Dern, and Isabella Rossellini. Blue Velvet is next on TCM.
Next on TCM, Blue Velvet, then Wild at Heart, and later, Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me. Our David Lynch tribute is heating up tonight.